welcome you on this new day to WESN, and this is how we kick it off around here with this program, AM Prime. I'm Andy Johnson. Thanks for staying with us. We'll tell you what's happening. We will end the program with a slight tribute to the late Black Stallion who died yesterday. Before that, however, we'll be talking with Mr. Revan Tilak Singh. He's president of an organization called Sewa Trinidad and Tobago, and his was one of those who said that the need for social assistance in the country is almost overwhelming. That is the experience that he and others had in trying to meet those needs over the Christmas period. We'll talk with him about what that reality is and how bad things might be and how worse probably they could get. Revan Tilak Singh in the second hour of the program. We're also talking on this edition of the program with Mr. Kirk Thorne Williams. He's somebody who's striven for a long time. He's been lived abroad and he's come back home and trying to get a footing here. And he has found now that there are lots of us who want to set up our own small businesses to be less dependent on other people, to provide the means by which we survive. But he says in a lot of cases, they don't know some of the basic first steps. So he's trying to set up an organization to do that. That Guy Business Solution, helping future entrepreneurs with launching themselves on that road. We will talk with him on the program in this edition. Also, we talk with the chairman of the National Carnival Commission, Winston Gypsy Peters. The organization has been given $147 million to run Carnival 2023. He's saying that they will do their best, but more might have been necessary to bring off the festival that they think is worthy of us in Trinidad and Tobago for Carnival on an ongoing basis. We will talk with him about what he intends to do and how he intends to make it, as he says, even in that situation, the mother of all carnivals. What does he mean by that? And when can we look forward to that in any real sense? Those things and more, we take you around the region, we take you further afield as time permits with those things and more on the program in this edition. We ask you to stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Better Value Limited has been making gift-giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gulview, or check our Facebook page.
Your Christmas is safe with us at PCU. Police Credit Union. Police Credit Union. Your Christmas is safe with us at PCU. Police Credit Union. PCU. Police Credit Union.
Get an easy zero-interest Christmas loan at Police Credit Union today. Borrow up to $25,000 with affordable monthly payments. New members, you get up to $10,000. No interest, no installments until January. Apply online at www.policecreditunion.com. Loan subject to credit approval.
Take your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Hardware.
Get all you need for your interior or exterior projects, from finishing accessories to small or large tools. We're known for a range of doors, flooring, moldings, medallions, even fountain pumps and tanks. Check us out. We have what you need to get that job done.
Your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Hardware.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marbella.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Wholesale nights, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Step into our spacious place of creative ideas for your home space. Our floor and wall tiles and natural stone is ideal for any use you need in your home. Toilet, bathroom sets and vanities lend design to your creativity, while jacuzzis and shower enclosures create the mood for dwelling on life's pleasures. Lamps and lighting fixtures add ambience and memorable pictures.
Wholesale nights, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
Better Value Limited has been making gift giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gullview or check our Facebook page.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the program. While we wait to make contact with the president of the chairman of the National Carnival Commission for discussion this morning, we could tell you about some of the news in the papers. We'll give you a sense of what's in the news. Of course, if you're living in Trinidad and Tobago or elsewhere, as a matter of fact, and you follow current developments, you would know of the death yesterday of the Black Stallion, 5-time national Calypso monarch in the country, an icon locally, regionally and internationally. We could share with you some of the sentiments of the Prime Minister of Barbados, who put it in context, some of his life and some of his work. I just wanted to give you a sense of what's in one of the papers this morning. Of course, the Newsday will tell you what was on the front page of that newspaper. That's the story. Celebrate the Black Stallion. And two calls for look on the brighter side as this icon passes. Of course, Look on the Brighter Side is one of his siren songs that he talked about. The Prime Minister of Barbados, as I said, Mia Motley referred to that yesterday in saying that he was calling our best intentions to mind and talking about how we can come together as a region to be better than we are. So let me just give you a sense of what this story is saying. This edition of the paper, Celebrate the Black Stallion. Since he died yesterday at the age 81, he'd been suffering from a stroke for the last couple of years. The nation was plunged into mourning on Wednesday as it woke up to the news that the lovable Calypso icon Black Stallion, whose real name is Leroy Callis, 81, died after ailing for 8 years. Local radio stations deferred regular programming to play his many gems, allowing people locally and from abroad the opportunity to call in and express their sadness as well as condolences to Stallion's family. Many broke down in tears as they remembered this Caribbean giant's distinguished career for 6 decades and his inability to return to the stage after he suffered an ischemic stroke in 2014, which affected both his speech and movement on the right side of his body. Tributes poured in from local and regional politicians as well as colleagues who reflected on his life and contribution to the art form of the 5-time Calypso monarch. Stallion's only surviving sibling, Gloria Callis, 78, also broke down in tears as she received the news while clearing goods at the customs and Point Lisas that her elder brother died peacefully at his home in Turton Street in San Fernando, surrounded by loved ones, including his wife, Patsy. When the reason for her tears became known, others also awaiting approval for their goods to became emotional, expressing condolences to the family. Customs officers also fast-tracked her clearance. In an interview with the Newsday, an emotional Gloria said, quote, "I love my brother. I wish he was still alive, but I'm content that his death on Wednesday is simply God's will. He suffered long for many years, since 2014 when he got that stroke. Now his pain and suffering has ended. This is God's will. I will always love him, and I wish him a peaceful transition and for his soul to rest in eternal peace," unquote. She said she resigned herself to his passing about a week ago when she had a dream and a terrible omen. Something was about to happen when the glass cover of her pot shattered while she was making a pot of pilau and the splinters contaminated the meal. She said what her family lacked in money made up for in talent. She recalled when Stallion first got a spot to sing in Sparrow's Calypso Brigade tent, quote, "I was the only one with $20 in savings in the bank. I took out 19 and gave him to buy a stingy brim hat, a pants and a checkered shirt for him to go on stage. He was a wonderful brother. when I visited him, he would cry because he could not express his feelings verbally. I would always love him. And that's just the beginning of that story. That's just the beginning of that story. Until now, we have with us Mr. Winston Peters, better known as Gypsy, a colleague and friend of Stalin for probably his lifetime. He's talking with us in the capacity as chairman of the National Carnival Commission. But of course, we want to ask him to share his condolences about the passing of his friend and longtime colleague. Good morning, sir. Good to see you.
Hi, good morning, Andy. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Andy, you know, the passing of Stalin leaves me without words because, like you said, Stalin is a lifelong friend, a mentor, a big brother and father figure. I've known Stalin since I was 10 years old. I was very fortunate to meet Stalin in 1962 in Miaro. And he is the first person who ever told me, he said, you will be one big Calypsonian. I don't know if I ever live up to that, but he did tell me that. He saw something in me maybe that I didn't even see in my own self. And Stalin passing is not just the passing of a Calypsonian, it's the passing of an inspirator, a person who have inspired not just us here in Trinidad and Tobago, but any part of the Caribbean that you go, you will hear people tell you that Stalin is one of the most inspiring Calypsonian that they know. And I concur, because Stalin was Calypsonians, people look at Calypsonians in a simple way because Calypsonians are people who are, in the main, they are not lettered. And we like to recognize people who have degrees and all kinds of stuff like that and big things behind their names. But when you listen to the type of song that Stalin sang and the way he expressed it, you can't help but listen to him as a philosopher and an educator, and not just a simple educator, but an educator to his people. And when I say his people, I mean black people in the main, but people in general. So the passing of Stalin is a loss to Trinidad and Tobago and a loss to our entire diaspora.
Yes.
And for me, it's a personal loss. I was there last night, yesterday evening. I was at Stalin's house with Patsy and all of them. I want to again express my sympathies and my condolences to his family, children, grandchildren, and Patsy in particular.
Is there some way in which, if not the NCC as a broader body, but certainly the Calypso organizations in the country, you think should and would pay tribute to him?
Well, I don't know what the Calypsonians organization have in train, but as for the NCC, I am going back to the office in a while, and we would be putting things in place to honor Stalin in whatever way we can. In whatever way we can, you know, we have been doing it for the other iconic figures in our country that have passed on, and Stalin will be no exception. We would do whatever we can there.
Yeah, but you say when you're going back to the office in a little while, it suggests that you may have been there a while ago and you're going back, or you mean you
Well, I was in the office yesterday. I was there yesterday, and I was out of the country for a while because I have my own challenge with a family member.
Yes.
And I was out of the country.
Yes.
But I came back in 3 days ago, and taking care of whatever has to be taken care of out of the office. So when I say I'm going back, I mean I'm going back there. In a while I'll be there sometime this morning.
Right.
And we're going to be dealing with the things that has to be dealt with there. Stalin being one of them.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit then in the time that is permitted now about the plans for what you call the mother of all carnivals. And I wanted to ask, well, how you define that? So is this going to be the best ever?
Well,
Up
let
to
me
this
tell you,
point,
this is defined in a couple of ways, right? With my expression of the mother of all carnival is that Trinidad and Tobago have spawned all the Trinidad-type carnivals that you have seen around the world.
So in a real sense,
Trinidad-type carnival.
right. So in a real sense, it is already the mother of all carnivals. Some people will see it that way.
It is the mother of all carnival in that sense.
Yeah.
And in this, in the immediacy, Trinidad and Tobago, we haven't had carnival in
3 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So there's an anxiety, there's a different expression and expectation for the people of Trinidad and Tobago and the people around the world who are going to be coming to our carnival. So the mother of all carnival means that we have to make sure that every single thing is in place and nothing is missing. Every ingredient that makes our carnival is exaggerated. We have to make sure that we do all the things that can really express Trinidad and Tobago's carnival as the mecca of carnival. And so that is what is making us the mother of all carnival. Whatever other ingredient have to be added will be added.
All right. You say that you will do the best you can. I'm using the you here collectively, your organization, the members of
Yes.
your team, with the best you can with what you have been proffered, $147 million. Well, some people might hear you saying we will do the best we can, and people will say, well, what do you want? $147 million? How much would you have considered to be ideal to stage the kind of thing you want to stage?
Well, you see, let me tell you something. You could always make do with whatever you have, right?
Yeah.
But you could always do more if you have more. And I'm not saying that we are not contented with I mean, we want more. It's something that we could have. There are things that we want to do that we cannot do. You know, like if something is tall, you can make it taller. If something is, is wide, you can make it wider. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Right. But we don't have it, so that's what we have to use. Because that's what the economy can afford at this point in time. And we are grateful for it. And it is going to work. It would, we will do the things that we have to do. But there's always the opportunity to do it bigger, better, taller, wider if you have more.
Right. And I think you put it in a good context in what I'm reading here at one of the stories I was looking at. You say the $200 million that we spend on Carnival, not 1 cent goes out of Trinidad and Tobago because we can't spend our money nowhere else. But what happens is that the money that we spend, the investment that the government makes in Carnival sustains a lot of people in this country on a short-term basis and on a long-term basis also. And you talk about the fact that that brings people to the country who spend money. And that is something a lot of us miss, you think?
Well, that's exactly what Carnival is all about now. But you see, in Trinidad and Tobago, because we have created this, and because of the antecedents of the whole thing, people would still be looking back at what Carnival, where it came from, how it come about, and all of that. They are not looking at what Carnival is now. Carnival is the largest temporary employer in Trinidad and Tobago. And it's the most profit-making investment and a short-term investment that anybody can invest in. If I was a man who could have invested in Carnival in a personal sense and own it, I would be a trillionaire. No, and that's the truth. Because Carnival makes money. Carnival brings money to this country. Carnival takes away absolutely nothing from Trinidad and Tobago, but brings everything in. And this is, I think that what we are lacking in Trinidad and Tobago, and you have to excuse my voice, I have a slight cold, huh?
Right, that's
so
okay.
What we are lacking in Trinidad and Tobago is something called a carnival education. Because Carnival is such an important product to Trinidad and Tobago.
But isn't there a
that
program at
people-
the University of Trinidad and Tobago? There's a program in Carnival Studies. Some people have gone through it, come through the
Andy,
yeah, go ahead.
everything that are taught at the university and not redound to the common man doesn't redound to the common man of Trinidad and Tobago. The university is an intellectual place. And after you go there and you teach people and their intellectual minds are developed, they come out and they put their own swing and they put their own whatever it is to come and now try to tell people whatever. And most of the time when the university people talk to people, it goes over the common man head. What we need is something called common education. And I'm saying to you, let's harken back to somebody like Stalin, right?
Yeah.
Stalin is not a university graduate. He has a degree. Yes, okay, he has a doctorate.
An
But it's
honorary doctorate, yes.
And the university was intelligent enough to give him an honorary doctorate because they know that what he knows and how he can teach it cannot be taught through the university. You understand what I'm saying?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So it have thousands of persons out here. Some people who can't even read and write. You want me to go back to somebody else? Have you ever listened to Brigo songs?
Of course.
Brigo was not a lettered person. Far from it. But there's no university lecturer that could have taught anybody anything like Brigo. So why I say all that to say this, that we in Trinidad and Tobago, the Calypsonian, a real Calypsonian I'm talking about, is an important cog in the educational, the social, and in a lot of ways the economic life of Trinidad and Tobago. And it is all of these ingredients that makes up Carnival.
Yeah, and just to go back on Brigo a bit, Samuel Abraham, because he was my friend.
Yes.
One of his most iconic songs was the song about "Don't Beat Mama Popo." With the message in that was critical, very critical for child rearing and so on, and people take out their frustrations and their children.
And years and years and years after, all these sociologists and what have you would now come up to tell you that child abuse is bad.
Yeah.
And they would take 10 encyclopedia to tell you what Brigo will tell you in 3 verses.
Yeah. All right. One of the things you said about what
so
is
that is the kind of education that I'm talking about. That we need to educate people. And at the NCC, we have embarked on we have plans in train to go out there and educate people. It's called Carnival Education.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do it in a different way, a different method and model from what is taught at the university. Carnival Studies, because there's this program at UTT called Carnival Studies. Dr. Nurse and others had gone through there, and I'm trying to remember the lady's name who also was doing work in that area. But I want to ask you, when you say among the things that you think need to happen to make the Carnival even better, that it should be promoted better, what are some of your thoughts about how we can promote it better?
Well, let me explain something to you. We have spawned Carnival all around the world, right?
Yeah.
And we are not capitalizing on it in terms of taking our own Carnival into these places and let them see what we really have. Let them see where Carnival come from. Let's expose ourselves some more. We are only depending on word of mouth, as it were, and continue to say that we are the greatest show on earth. We are. But you see, if you have a product and you are not out there advertising, Coca-Cola is one of the biggest drink it have in the world.
So there was iconic
and Coca-Cola
brands.
have never yet stopped advertising. There's a reason for that. Because we have competition now. This is not 1960 when Trinidad and Tobago was a basic standalone carnival in the world. Carnival is one of the greatest exports that we have out of Trinidad and Tobago. And we have exported Carnival to the point where people don't even want to come to Trinidad and Tobago anymore for Carnival.
Well,
So
precisely.
now we have to ensure that we keep ourselves out there, that we keep our carnival out there, that we make our carnival bigger, that we make our carnival better, that we make our carnival more pronounced in the world so that people would understand that Trinidad and Tobago is the mecca of carnival, and we need to go out there with our carnival and showcase it every chance we get.
And what do you think is that you think that is a job for the NCC centrally or for the government and the ministry which does that, or
It's
that
a
if you had
collective job for the minister. It's a collective job. The NCC is put in place as the National Carnival Commission of Trinidad and Tobago, and the reason why it is put in place for that, it is because it is responsible. It is an arm of the culture ministry, but it is responsible. Its responsibility is nothing other than carnival. That's why we exist. We exist to promote carnival. We exist to make carnival. We exist to make carnival bigger. We exist to do all things carnival because carnival is our job. That is why the NCC exists.
Yeah.
It exists for nothing else. It's not the National Carnival and something organization. It is the National Carnival organization. It is basically a standalone organization that has the responsibility for carnival, albeit that we are not an organization that is self-generating, financially self-generating. It is an organization that is subventive in nature. So it's a dependent organization on the government, even though we try to make our own money to do what we do. But it is an organization that is dependent on the government to give us whatever we need. So we have to go cap in hand most of the time asking the government. You know, we are not independently financial. But we try our best to do the best that we can with what we have.
That is a good point. You think that they must come, and there has to come a time when the organization itself can be more independent and therefore generate its own financing.
It was never designed to be that.
Right.
It was never designed to be that. If that has to be so, it has to be reconstructed.
And what's your statement on that? It should be? You think it should be?
I would say that it should be. But I don't think that given the whole background of it and how it came about and how it would take quite a while for that to totally happen. It would have to be subvented in some way or the other. But as far as the independence, the total independence of the organization, I don't see it happening in the near future.
In the foreseeable
future. But I've seen it happening to some extent. You know, if given the leeway. What that organization is like money passed through the organization. We do whatever we have to do, and the benefits of it redound to the exchequer and the people of Trinidad and Tobago in a general sense.
All right, there's much more we could talk about, but we'll try and do that on another occasion. Where you talk about some of the things you want to see implemented, like Wi-Fi, e-tickets, and online ticket sales, and the one-stop shop, and other things that you think once they come in, they will make for more resilience in the organization itself and make for a better presentation.
And it is not something that we want to see. This is something that is being implemented, you know.
Yeah.
We are implementing it. It's in its implementation stage, and we are doing it. It's going on, Andy.
Yes.
It is in train, and this is what you're going to be seeing for this year. We are trying to make it easy as possible, and in this time that we live in, we are living in a technologically advanced stage of our life, and we have to change with the time, because when you have something, you have to wait to walk up to the savannah to get it. People stay online and order food. And some Uber bring it for them and all kind of things in the world, you know.
Everything, yes.
So you can't be walking all over the place trying to get a ticket, and you can't want a registration. You have to go by license office in Caroni on Wrighton Road to get it. Then you want something from Tiantec, you have to go somewhere else, and you want a next thing. And so we try to put it under one roof, so it will make it easier for all the persons involved to be able to have easier access to everything.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much for talking with us. This is a conversation that has to go
Thank you,
on.
Andy.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you. The pleasure is mine, and all the best, my brother.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Winston Peters, the Gypsy, the chairman of the National Carnival Commission. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll show on that other side. Stay with us.
Better Value Limited has been making gift giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gullview, or check our Facebook page.
The best laptops and tablets are at dbesttoys.com. Get a Gateway 14.1-inch Ultra Slim notebook or an HP 14-inch laptop at the best prices in TNT. Get the Fire 7 tablet for $474. You can also shop the latest Amazon Fire Sticks. Call now at 32-DBEST to order, or visit us in-store at Forces flagship MacBean. Shop online now at dbesttoys.com. Free delivery available throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Cash or links on delivery.
Poolside nights, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Step into a spacious place of creative ideas for your home space. Our floor and wall tiles and natural stone is ideal for any use you need in your home. Toilet, bathroom sets and vanities lend design to your creativity, while jacuzzis and shower enclosures create the mood for dwelling on life's pleasures. Lamps and lighting fixtures add ambience and memorable pictures.
Poolside nights, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the content capital.
Living in victory every day.
Inspire, motivate, encourage, hope. It's about topical issues. It's about everything that you would want to know about hope, about life. At the end, you're going to say, yes, if he can do it, I can do it too. If she can, I can do it too.
No matter what they say, living in victory every day.
Nicole Lawson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing on it.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Paul?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the red, white, and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Welcome back to the program. With us now, Mr. Kirk Thorne Williams, someone who I've met along the way in doing this business, whether it's in the newspapers, on radio, and now in television. What I would say about him is somebody who's always striving to make himself a better person and to help other people better themselves. He's discovered that a lot of people in Trinidad and Tobago, he says, wants to get into their own businesses for a number of different reasons, but he says in a lot of cases they don't know how to begin. So he's starting an initiative that he calls That Guy Business Solution, helping future entrepreneurs with launching a business. Kirk, it's good to see you.
Same here, Andy. Same here. And as the name suggests, That Guy Business Solutions, that'll then make me that guy.
Right. So talk about how you came by this idea and in your discussions with people. And well, why do you think there are a lot of people who want to get into business and in some cases one presumes that there are people who want to do it but don't know how to start, and you've hit upon that and you're trying to put things in place to help people to start whatever entrepreneurship they have in their minds.
Well, Andy, one of the things that I've discovered, and this has been in doing this for a while, you find that you have a lot of good people with really, really good skills. Yeah? And good skills doesn't necessarily translate into management know-how, right? And this here is really to give persons who are considering starting their own business the opportunity to get a roadmap. Because the whole thing of getting into business, you're getting into business to win it. You're getting in it to win it. And that's the point that I want to make. Because planning your business and putting things in place will give you that measure of what am I looking for here, the words I'm looking for, strategic ability to do so and do so well. So the concept here is getting in it to win it. So making sure that all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed. And that you in essence, are compliant with all of the legal regulations that are required of you. You know, I met a lot of people and I started registering businesses. Now, I'm not sure if I told you this part of the story, but that guy actually started as an errands business in Arima.
What business?
Yeah, it started as an errands business. I ran errands for a lot of the beauticians and that sort of stuff in Arima. And then an attorney saw me and said, hey, you know what, I got some errands for you. And I said, no problem. I started doing deeds and that sort of stuff. And then I got into business registrations. And in doing the registrations for people, a lot of those questions, especially questions about BIR, NIS, and banking, those questions came to me like a mantra. They just kept repeating themselves. And then I said, you know what, maybe this is something I need to take note of and attempt to do something like this. So now what we're doing with the webinar, it's actually a webinar because it'll be online, is really to put all of that information in one place. Right now, there is no one place where you can get all of that information succinctly put together. So, so the concept here is getting people to know, especially people who are looking to get into business, letting them know, hey, you know what, here's a roadmap. You getting there. And that's what we're seeking to provide. Additionally, we already have one of the banks on board come and talk about their products and services, which will be Scotiabank. So we're really, or should I say, I am really looking to put things in place where business people can come people who are considering getting into business can come and get all of that information in one place.
What are some of the steps that people must take that they don't know and that your operation is going to assist them in being
Okay,
able
like
to
for
take?
example, BIR and NIS. Every employer in this country is required to pay NIS for their employees. But for the average person who may want to start a business and may need to have an employee or two, that can become a daunting task. So it's really about letting them know, hey, if you're looking to have employees, you must register for NIS. In order to register for NIS, you must have a BIR number. So all of these things go hand in hand in setting up a proper business, especially if you're going to have employees.
Yeah, and you see a lot of people don't know that, and some people get into business without knowing the rules, and in some cases people do that indifferent to the rules, but then sometimes that hampers the business from developing and from going, and then you get into problems with the system.
Exactly. Because there have been businesses out there that I've spoken to, I'm not going to call any names, but where they never registered for NIS and they have employees, and that's something that's actually crazy because now it becomes a daunting task because now you're faced with all sorts of penalties and things of that nature, which can really be a real deterrent to them even considering doing NIS for their employees. So, making sure that you understand what needs to happen ahead of time is forewarned how do I put it? Information is power, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about this is a webinar you're organizing to get people to understand what it is they're required to do, what it is they need to do. When is it and how do people get onto it?
Well, this will be hosted sometime in January. The date is still to be arranged. But once it is, we'll be definitely going forward with it. It'll probably be in the evening time around 7 o'clock or so. But to give folks enough time to get home, that kind of stuff, so that they can have a quiet space where they can sit and actually participate in the seminar.
Yeah. And so if people wanted to take note of it now, what do you tell them?
What I would tell them is this. Let me share my phone number because we're still putting some things in place as far as collection of payments and that sort of stuff because it's relatively cheap. The price for this seminar is basically $150 per person. And I think that that's good value for your money. Given the fact that there's no one place where all of that information could be found succinctly put together in a manner that's easy for people to digest. So that's what we're looking at. I'm still putting a few things in place as far as receiving payments from participants. But as soon as those things are in place, we should be getting it up and running. And I'm hoping to do that prior to the end of January. So the first webinar, will be available sometime mid to late January.
And you say you came about this because in more and more in your discussions with people, people want to do their own thing because either because they're frustrated with the system, with having a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 4, or that they have ideas that they figure they could, profit from that rather than going and give that to other people.
Well, that's part of it, and that's part of it. There are a lot of people out there who would like to get into business for themselves, and then there are other people that I've met who are in business simply because they have no other choice. There have been a lot of people since 2015 who've lost their jobs. COVID has not helped the situation. So, the people are beginning to become creative. And this is a means of allowing them to be creative and understand what are the rules and regulations, make sure that they're compliant, like I said. It actually scares me to see what the economy is like. Christmas, as I maneuvered through ARIMA during the Christmas, you can really see the lack of sales. I mean, that was very evident. So my whole thing is this, given everything that has gone on, you find that some people are actually getting into business because they really have no other choice, and it's a means of survival.
I'm glad you talk about the REMA this Christmas. What do you make of what we saw? To what extent do you think that helps? The authorities, I think they need to be sort of saluted in that respect. Almost every street in the central town, part of a street was given up to people who set up their tents and were offering things for sale. But my understanding is that there was some pushback from the established business sector. But the people who decided to do that, it spoke to a need. What is your thinking about that? People allowed that week into Christmas, in which all these tents were out there with so many people wanting to offer things for sale.
Well, Andy, that was the whole thing, because as far as I see it, REMA was pretty much dead. When I say dead, I mean the kind of activity that would usually be seen in a REMA during Christmas time was non-existent.
Even with the number of spots that were dedicated along the streets and in the parking space at the bus terminus for people to set up their shop and so on. You think
that was the whole thing? Because I did go past the bus terminus, and literally there were just people there sitting in their tents with their products, and there was basically no one there.
I see what you mean. So you don't. Yeah. You think a lot of people.
So that's my take on it. It just makes you wonder how many more people since 2015 have really been driven below the poverty line. Yeah, it just really makes you wonder.
Now you think in a lot of cases, those are some of the people who would have come forward and tried to get some income and some revenue, and you don't think it happened to the extent that people would have expected?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people may have put out some money in purchasing things and hoping that, I can make a little bit of money this Christmas. And I think that in and of itself may have been a failure.
Yeah. But yet there are those people who, for a number of reasons, want to get into business, to become entrepreneurs, and don't know how. And that is why you want to have this thing. So you would pick a date. You haven't decided on a date yet as to when you would have it. Well, January is a couple of days away, or as to when you would have it, and how do people get on to you if they want to, and how do they wait for when that happens?
Okay, well, certainly. You can reach me. Let me give you my phone number. Right now, we're doing everything by phone. I'm hoping to get some other businesses involved as far as being able for revenue collection.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about using NLCD, because lottery booths make it easy that people can come there and purchase a ticket. I'm also going to try to talk to SurePay and see how that's going to work with them, with Massey, and that way people can purchase the ticket, the seminar. Webinar. Now, seating is limited to 30 people, and I'm limiting it to 30 people because I want folks to have their questions answered. If you have a question, I want to make sure that there is enough time during the session to ensure that your questions are answered.
All right.
And answered effectively. So it'll be like about an hour and a half, the time frame for the actual seminar. And I'm thinking around the middle of the month to the end of the month. So I'm thinking anywhere from the 15th or so, the seminar should be good to go.
All right, so give us the number one more time.
My number is 283-1653.
283-1653.
Again, that number is 283-1653.
Kirkthorne Williams, entrepreneur, an entrepreneur maker. Thank you very much, Proposed.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Andy.
All right, and keep in touch. And as we head up to the top of the hour, then let's tell you something that's happening around the region. We go to Barbados, and where we are told that there's been relief there as an elderly man is found 4 days missing. He's been found alive after he went missing. We have a report from the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation.
I'm so elated this evening to report that we found Lionel and we found him alive. We never gave up hope. We always believe that as long as there's life, there's hope, and we just kept on looking and kept on going. And this evening we decided to organize one final search. Not final, but we decided to organize one search And we came around, all around Jordan, and we went up the hill by the church, and the guy that was with me said, well, let's go down through the development and come down through. And then we came down, we walked the fence. I heard the noise, and I shouted Lionel, and he answered.
We got the call, as I said, about 16:44, and our first appliance right here at 1700 hours. We were able to secure the patient using the stretcher and Stokes basket, and our personnel was able to get the person here to an area where we consider to be stable, and we're currently awaiting the arrival of the ambulance.
All right, so we take a break. When we come back, Mr. Revan Tilak Singh, on the other side of the news, he's the president of the organization called Sewa Trinidad and Tobago. Calls have been flooding chapter organizations from people pleading for assistance during the festive season that was Christmas. Stay with us.
Here is your WESN News on the Hour. I am Marquise Akers. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Businesses complain of poor sales throughout peak shopping period. TTSPCA urges pet owners to protect animals during fireworks. Concerned Parents Movement weighs in on sex education in schools. And internationally, Hong Kong to scrap almost all its COVID rules. Now for the details. President of the Confederation of Regional Business Chambers, Vivek Charan, says this was the worst Christmas season for businesses.
The Christmas season was very disconcerting. We were quite worried. When we reached out to many of the chambers under the Confederation. And relatively early on, we realized that the volume of sales or the level of commercial activity that we were expecting was not happening.
Chairman of the Confederation, Ricardo Mohammed, said that he agreed that businesses suffered significantly this year.
I can safely tell you many businesses on our area, especially on the eastern side of Trinidad and Tobago, we have not seen a Christmas sales like this in years. This has been probably one of the worst spend in this area of the country. Yes, we know we were impacted by flooding, and that has played a significant role because a lot of people, disposable incomes were used to buy back fridge or stove or try to fix back some part of their house, as the case may be.
The TTSPCA is urging pet owners to be mindful of the distress caused to animals during fireworks and cautions them to provide the proper care and protection. Fireworks are expected to be a hit over the old years into New Year's celebrations.
Perhaps you could set up one of your bathrooms, put them in there, but it will be easy to clean up if there's any problems. But the best thing, of course, is if somebody can stay with them and comfort them, because they do come to their owners, their family members, for comfort. And do please take into account that the hearing of dogs and cats, dogs in particular, is much sharper than ours. So what is loud to us is terrifyingly loud to them.
The Concerned Parents Movement of Trinidad and Tobago is weighing in on the topic of whether sex education could be introduced in schools. President Clarence Mendoza spoke on the issue via WESN's AM Prime.
The youth arm of the Concerned Parents, they are now putting together so they can tell us some of this to the school system. So we are waiting to have a discussion with the youth arm, the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth Affairs, in terms of how we can get this better off to our students. They must be aware of predators, and we are not giving them that knowledge. You know, I listened to our president, our new president of Tutor. He would have made it clear that it should be something from the home and the parents, and I quite agree. But if your parents are underage and your parents are young and younger, you don't have time for that.
And internationally, Hong Kong is dropping almost all its COVID restrictions this week, following a similar move by mainland China. From Thursday, people arriving in the city, a special administrative region of China, will no longer have to do mandatory PCR tests. The vaccine pass system will also be scrapped, but compulsory masks in public places will continue. It is a dramatic move by the city, which once had some of the toughest restrictions in the world. With that, news to the hour on WESN, I am Marquise Akers. Thanks for watching.
Program, let's just tell you this, as reported in the Express newspaper a couple of days ago leading up to Christmas, December 22nd to be exact. And this is a quote. There has been an increase in the people seeking help, but the amount of contributions that people would normally have given has reduced. People generally have less spending power and less money to give, but the number of people seeking help has increased. Those words have been attributed to Mr. River Tilak Singh. He is president of an organization called Sewa TT, SEWA. TT. He said in the discussion that we had, people are not earning as much as they used to, and their earnings are fetching less. He said people have moved from the lower middle class to the working poor. Mr. Tilak Singh is with us. Good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on. Can you unmute your mic?
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson, and good morning to your viewers and listeners.
All right, first of all, what is Sewa TT?
Sewa is a Sanskrit word for selfless service. So we are an organization of professionals who have come together. We identify gaps in the society and we try our best to fulfill them with.
Yeah, and you're saying that and you've been doing this for some time, but this is it correct to say that this year was particularly worrisome, you think, or headaching?
Yeah, so I mean, we're coming out of the pandemic, we in a period of high inflation, particularly inflation, and we've seen this becoming, this has been a challenge for many of the families on the lowest. The past 10 years, we are 10 years old, we have been providing services for people who just can't make ends meet based on disability grants or any of the other social services. Just follow for the social safety net provided by the try our best to get them back. Not all the time it's enough. And there are some families that do not meet the criteria to be part of the social safety net, right? So we find families who are earning $6,000 a month combined between the mother and father, but they have children, 4 children, right? Managing 6 human beings on $6,000 a month with any reasonable lifestyle or just to meet the education needs plus food is, as you would appreciate, is extremely difficult. And this is what we see. We are seeing a lot of people who they're on the lower end of the income bracket, finding it extremely difficult to make ends meet.
Yeah, and you say that some of those people have moved from being lower middle class to working poor. So they're working, but they're in states of...
It's a rather typical classification. I mean, not to put anybody in any way, but even us, we experience it, right? As an organization, the people who would contribute $100, $200 to whether we make, we've been able to do some pretty large things. For St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we were able to collect almost $400,000 TT dollars our pandemic response in Trinidad, we were able to collect over $1 million. We were able to do 3,000 food packages, 350 each. So that's over $1 million, right? And those came, even though it was in the beginning of the pandemic and early in the pandemic, you would find through the method that we use in the supermarkets, where you could go to a specific supermarket, we could see the number of $100 contribution, the number of $200 contributions, the number of 500 contributions. And we have seen that those have dropped. The $500 contributions have dropped to 200 or 100. A lot of the $100 contributions have just dropped off completely. And we understand why. I mean, when you look at our own personal bills, right? Our gas bill in the last 2 years, food bill has increased significantly. But we would pay at the wholesale level, and I mean, we have to give credit to the distributors and the supermarkets. They give us things sometimes below what they pay for it, right? And the prices that they pay for it, the supermarkets have also doubled. Not necessarily doubled, but increased significantly by at least 30 to 40%. So that spending power, the value of a dollar is significantly less now than 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
So it's a fact. You think the numbers will ever bear that out when because we have an issue with doing these kinds of studies and statistics and keeping up, having the statistics keep up with where we are. So sometimes we never know what our true situation socially and economically is for people in Trinidad and Tobago. But you have a sense, you're in a position to know that poverty has increased.
Yeah, so I can't argue with the economists or the statisticians. Those, the Ministry of Trade and those people, they have their method of getting their statistics. And I wouldn't argue with them. They have a different resource than we have, right? I don't have the ability to have 20 staff go and check the prices every year. But what I can tell you is what we pay for stuff, right? And I could tell you what we pay for based on the prices that the distributors give to us and the supermarkets. And both of them, right? We would see the distributors will give some things even below what the supermarkets pay for it. So we know that we're getting the best value for money. And we have that relationship with all the groups. And I could tell you for a fact, right, that food, the items that we purchase, flour, rice, oil, baking powder, potatoes, and all of those are we consider market goods yet. They have increased. There's no doubt in that. That's for sure. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is that generally you would see the amount of activities, and I don't think anybody can deny that, the amount of people by the burger stands. But by the informal economy that don't pay taxes and it's harder to track, that also has reduced. So clearly we have on the lower end of the scale people who have some type of fixed income. Their money is valued a little bit less now, and in a lot of cases they have less money.
You have any truck with the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services to know to what extent what they help provide? How much does it travel?
Yeah, so I think that the ministry has been going through, and I mean, you follow it on the media. We've had a very good relationship with the Ministry of Social Development, and they are working with us to onboard people once they meet the criteria. And the ministry itself is constantly reviewing those criteria based on the politicians. and the second grant. We have no say in that per se. But I have to give government credit, but they have been working with us. If you bring a case to them, they would attend to it. They would attend to the case, whether the person meet the criteria or we think they meet the criteria. A lot of times the people that we deal with don't meet the criteria for the social services. However, they still do need the help. And there's a gray area that we have to understand that is very subjective, right? As I say, the Ministry of Social Development with people who have either no income or a very, very low income. But that very low income, what they consider poor, is a couple US dollars, which is fairly outdated. I don't remember the exact figure now, but it's an outdated figure. That's something that I think is usable in Trinidad. That's all.
Right. I think that is a case of what the ministry itself can afford person to person. That this is what we could afford, but in your estimation, it doesn't meet sufficiently the needs of the people who come forward.
Yeah, and so let's look at the disability grant, for instance, right?
Yes.
The disability grant, I think it has recently been increased about $2,000, even for $2,200, right? That person cannot work if they're on the disability grant, and that's how they see it, right? The person with disability sees it that if I'm on the grant and I do something where I washing cars to supplement my income, I can't do anything else. But I literally had to sit in my home and work with that $2,000 a month, which is insufficient. It's very difficult for anybody to survive on $2,000 a month, especially if you're living alone. You have to your rent, your just to have electricity, some basic items will be covered by that $2,000 in your first few days, right? Then we have to think about food. It's just not practical if you're living with your parents or you're living with members. They have to add value just for you to survive. So if you, if you want to do something, you may not, let's say someone is caring in care, right? It's very difficult for them to understand and do certain functions, but they can wash a car, right? Nothing wrong with that. And they choose to wash cars, and let's say they make an additional $1,000 or $2,000 a month, they would come off with disability grant. $4,000 a month is not no phenomenal amount of work, but 4,000 meaning 2,000 disability and 2,000 you're earning on your own would definitely help you take care of yourself, not feel like a burden to your family, and also maybe be able for you to contribute something to your niece and nephew if you have kids or that, right? And that's the direction I think we should go. These are some of the things that SEWA try to do, how we could supplement some of these homes, how we could.
I want to ask you about that. Being on the ground, like yourself and your agency and others like you, what is the intelligence that you will pick up, and you think that you're in a position to pass on to the authorities, the people in the authorities, such as the ministry, and to what extent that happens in a way that it goes to the benefit of people. But before I ask you to answer about that, how many different kinds of grants could one individual be up for and entitled to and be a recipient of?
So it depends on the situation, right? For instance, for flooding, people who have been flooded out, you could get a home repair grant plus something. Additionally, you could get a grant for appliances. Additionally, you could get a grant for roof repair, and you could get a grant separately for electrical. So in terms of home repair, up to about $55,000, I believe. You could get several grants added to each, right? And then they could give you a temporary food card and a rental assistance grant, which is you can't live in your home. So while those repairs are happening, right? And it really is, it is at the discretion of the officers who are dealing with these things to give these grants. In terms of disability and otherwise, there's a gray area there. If you get a disability grant, they take you off the food. Sometimes that policy changes, and I will be very honest with you. I do not think the policy has been consistent. So I think we need to look at those policies and make sure that those policies are consistent. There needs to be a holistic look. What is actually happening on the ground? What is the actual expense? I don't think anybody wants the disability grants or any of these grants to make somebody rich. It should be something that you could survive on. And I believe, and a lot of the people in our circle, most of our volunteers believe that you need to have a path to get people off the grant. And or we have a tiered system. So if we say in pensions or NS, the maximum is 4,500, and we want, let's say we could come to that figure, right? We have the disability grant, let's say at $3,000, and allow people to earn. And if you earn $2,000, well, then reduce the disability grant so that the maximum the person earns is 4,500. And if they're earning 4,000, you could drop your grant to 500. And if it was 4,500, well, then you stop the grant, right? And let's say, but at least to get them empowered, they start working. They may figure out something, whether it's art, whether it's something else that they could do, within their ability range. And who knows, once they get started, they may earn $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. They may be a net contributor to the whole social network, right? But if we just limit them by saying, once you start to work, once you start off the ground, these people can't survive without that $2,000.
Right. So, and what you said there sort of answered the other part of the question when I asked about what is the nature of the dialogue and the discussions between people like yourselves and the people who work this system in the ministry, and to what extent they are conscientious in hearing what you all say, because in fact you all are on the ground doing this stuff and trying to deliver to the people. And you talked about volunteers, so that your organization is made up of volunteers, people who give of their time and energy and effort to help try to make life better for so many of us.
So and part of that whole process is the state getting their act together and getting their resources in order. So we've been hearing about digitization for more than a decade now. How much more years we could be hearing about? We've been constantly hearing about we're going to make this electronic and make that electronic, and this one over about this one keeping that. That's why we're stopping everybody from it. And I mean, these are people, we're taking the approach that we have to guard against all of these things. Right? How much longer we punish the people who are doing what they're supposed to do right, while we try to fix the system? How long we're going to continue fixing the system and fixing the system? How much years we're going to say we're fixing the system? These are some of the conversations I think that we have to have, and maybe through your channel, you could advocate for when you need these who are responsible, to see if we can get a timeline. There's never a timeline for when something will get done. It's in progress. It will happen. It will happen at some time. We're doing this. You ask, okay, when we'll have one card that we as an NGO could tap into, for instance, let's say we have an arrangement with Ministry of Social Development and someone comes to us. Where is the portal that we could have someone approve or something that we could call to find out if this person is receiving a social? There's none, and there's no way that we could find that information out in any reasonable amount of time without going through a very tedious process and trying to get permission from the person to come back, etc. Right? So, I mean, these things are not rocket science. I don't think it requires any major thinking about it. I think it's something that we could get done fairly quickly, and I think the state has the resources to do it. Is when will it get done to facilitate, one, us, and two, facilitate the act.
Yeah, we're having a bit of a challenge there with the communication, but I think your points are well taken. My question is though that to what extent you think you're putting yourself in jeopardy and the work that you do in jeopardy by being, speaking as openly as you are on some of these issues. I mean, you run afoul of somebody listening to this, or maybe be turned on to these comments and decide, well, you speaking ill of this ministry and people who the work, and therefore.
So absolutely not. I think the ministry recognizes those things, and I think they are going in a direction to change it. I actually said earlier that they have been working with us, right? But we are having an honest conversation with the public, and I know you have a very good list on there that have advocated and pushed things along. A lot of the times, the problem is not the minister or political will. I mean, we have a way of feeling that political will is all be all and end all. But we also know there's a system that has to move, and I'll give you a next good example, right? The Ministry of Health, the politician has, in my view, has put everything in place to have blood donation in a good position. Yet blood donation is at its worst in the country right now. Right? The blood banks have been refurbished.
You mean at its lowest?
Yeah, we're collecting probably some of these amount outside of the pandemic for a regular period. We are collecting very small amounts of blood, and it's because the systems are not working now. Has the resources been given? Yes, the blood banks have been upgraded. We now have an appointment system. Before you used to have to wait a year if you get a tattoo, or a year if you travel to Ghana, or a year before you could give blood. Now all of those regulations have been reduced, recognizing that the fact that we have so much travel. It has become 3 months. A lot of things have changed policy-wise, but still the actual implementation is taking too long.
All right, Mr. Tilak Singh, I hate to do this, but we have to take a break now. But I want to thank you profusely for your frankness about this, and I mean, your whole demeanor suggests that you are as pained as the people who you're trying to help, but you would continue to do it. Thank you very much, and we would find a means by which we can continue this discussion as we go along here, trying to see what is necessary to make some of our lives better than they are. Thank you very much.
No problem. Take care, Mr. Johnson.
You're very welcome, Mr. Rivan Tilak Singh, president of the organization called Sewa Trinidad and Tobago. We will take a break. Stay with us.
Make your list from A to Z. Find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Hardware.
Get all you need for your interior or exterior projects, from finishing accessories to small or large tools. We're known for a range of doors, flooring, moldings, medallions, even fountain pumps and tanks. Check us out. We have what you need to get that job done.
Make your list from A to Z. Find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Hardware.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marbella.
Your Christmas is safe with us at PCU. Police Credit Union. Police Credit Union. Your Christmas is safe with us at PCU. Police Credit Union. Police Credit Union.
Get an easy zero-interest Christmas loan at Police Credit Union today. Borrow up to $25,000 with affordable monthly payments. New members, you get up to $10,000. No interest, no installments until January. Apply online at www.policecreditunion.com. Loan subject to credit approval.
At Belgroves, celebrating life is our commitment with integrity, compassion, and dignity for your loved ones. Belgroves Funeral Home and Crematorium, serving Trinidad and Tobago for over a century.
and bath, making your home a work of art. Step into a spacious place of creative ideas for your home space. Our floor and wall tiles and natural stone is ideal for any use you need in your home. Toilet, bathroom sets and vanities lend design to your creativity, while jacuzzis and shower enclosures create the mood for dwelling on life's pleasures. Lamps and lighting fixtures add ambience and memorable pictures. Hot and lights, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art. Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
All right, welcome back. Well, let me just read to you a couple of stanzas of a statement issued yesterday by the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Motley, on the passing of Black Stallion. She says, anyone who knows anything about me knows that I love music. It is key to all that I do. The truth is, one of those early artists who centered me and gave me context and perspective was Black Stallion. He had a way of drilling down always to the core, his message always rooted in truth, justice, and solidarity. Black Stallion was one of our region's finest masters of calypso. Both his lyrics and his melodies expertly captured the rhythm and the vibe and voice of the Caribbean. He was acutely conscious of our shared history, culture, passions, and concerns, and expressed them in his songs in a way we never could ourselves. In the true tradition of calypso, Stallion was a griot, chronicling the issues and philosophies impacting our daily lives. There's much more to try and get onto it, as circulated by Suzanne Leonard. We leave you this edition of the program then with some of the music of the Black Stallion.
Judgment morning, I'm by the gate and I'm waiting, because I'm begging the master, give me a walk with Peter. If I come sinners coming, with them I go be dealing, because the things that they do me, I want to fix them personally. Peter wait, Peter look Cecil Rhodes by the gate. Peter look the Englishman, we send Cecil Rhodes to Africa land. Peter take Drake, take Raleigh, but leave Victoria for me. Peter I just don't care what you say, but Mussolini he can't get away. Why? This is my time for burning. I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning. Blazing. Last year I sing and say I taking the wife to party. People vex like hell 'cause I say my wife and not their beauty. So the next weekend on the papers, them boys start writing. Yes, they're trying to tell the world it's smart that the black man singing. So before them reporters put my career in more jeopardy. And not me to sing nothing again about party. But when the fans and them around the world listen to what I had to say, anyway that I go, anyway that I pass, they keep balling out. No way, no, this party can't done. Black man, your fans having fun. Black man, German, another one. This party can't done, this party can't done. Come with it, your fans want to party. Come with it, jam a party song. Come with it, we just want to roll back all night long. Come with it, your fans want to shake up. Come with it, build my party song. Come with it, it's you make we boogie woogie all year round. Stop all housework you're doing. Tonight we going and have some fun. I just feel it to party the way we used to when we was young. Just put on something sexy, so you'll be free to move around. Make sure the children okay. We ain't coming home until morning come. Tonight the black man feeling the party. Tonight the black man feeling the jam. Tonight the black man just feels the boogie woogie. Come on, hold on to your man, and then we do a little oh. say no more, could you see happy times again? But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk is nonsense, but the majority of we decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country facing, it's dark in power, so our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life would be much sweeter.
That's our broadcast in this edition of the program. We thank you for watching. We thank our guests. We tell you can stay with us here at AM Prime at WENCC on all our social media platforms. You can send your emails to amprime@wesncc.com. In half an hour, we have news at the top of the hour, followed by today's edition of Talking Point with Shah and Small. But for now, thanks for watching. I'm Andy Johnson. We see you tomorrow.